Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain and welcome back. Now today, I want to talk about some stuff that I've been seeing kind of popping up here and there. Um, and it's starting to bug me a little bit because it seems to be suggesting that things like being a good person, being friendly, being nice, being a complete and utter arsehole are attached to other qualities. And now I know that this is part of the whole identity politics thing and it doesn't make any sense, but I wanted to kind of put it to bed because I was seeing some stuff going both positive and negative around some of this stuff. And it just kind of stood out to me as just daft, really. I saw a thing earlier this week suggesting that like men are all men apparently are basically assholes, and that we are just going to be regardless. And this is a thing that keeps coming up again and again and again over recent years with the whole cis white male thing basically seemingly becoming a kind of derogatory term when arguably it's a description. But then you've got some other stuff that I was seeing where it was like, oh yeah, well, I saw these. I was stood upstairs in my room at uni, and I heard these people playing outside, and at first I heard someone say to one of the others, "Oh, you don't know how to throw a football," because apparently this was in America, and then you know they were so happy and surprised that this person who had apparently never thrown a football was being supported and taught by these other people instead of just being bashed for it. And it's like, as if this isn't like maybe that situation isn't a common occurrence, but as if guys don't just help each other out, as if we are completely kind of either pack based and will just rip each other apart, or like out to just throw punches at each other anyway. In my life, I can count maybe on two hands at most. I was quite badly bullied as a kid, but and I've worked and dealt with some really shitty people throughout my kind of time after school and after education. But again, I can probably count on my hands here the number of people that have genuinely kind of refused to work with me, like at all, like instantly started throwing insults, attacking me, all that kind of thing. And throughout my lifetime, I've met thousands of people. Even fleetingly, I've met the number of people that I'd have coming past me and meeting me and having a quick chat or whatever else. Even if it was just a few words of this and that in passing, like those people that I used to either serve or work with, most of them were absolutely fine. They were innocuous individuals that were either nice or at the very least civil. You don't get just people jumping on each other as much as it seems to be attached to it being, oh well, it's guys. Oh well, no, it's kind of catty girls attacking each other and always trying to put each other down. Oh no, well it's then you're going to branch outside of it and it's like, oh no, but it's kind of these Hispanic guys who roam around in groups and terrorize neighborhoods, or oh no, it's the kind of EDL white skinhead guys. Oh no, it's the Islamic gangs, and it's like all you're pointing out is people who are bad. Like there are bad isn't associated to kind of a group of people like purely on skin color, on sex, on where they're born. Yeah, being kind of a good, friendly, kind of approachable person, or being a complete asshole are completely their traits in and of themselves. We discussed this before when we were kind of talking about the spectrum of a person, where the extreme ends of that scale can apply to literally anybody, male, female, black, white, Hispanic, from the Middle East, from kind of Japan and China and Vietnam. You know, from literally anywhere, you can grab a person and they will, to one extent or another, be somewhere along that scale. You know, it's maybe not a perfect tool. You know, there are always outliers that don't fit into systems, but again, for the most part, you're looking at it and you're going, well, actually, yeah, they're good and bad, or approachable and antagonistic, or whatever. Either side of those, of that kind of measure in and of itself, it's an individual trait. And so, you know, it frustrates me a little bit when I see these things, and it's just, oh well, in trying to interact with one another, we are apparently so far gone at this point that we're just pointing out the things that we see and labeling everybody as the same thing. You know, and these preconceived notions that people have are only bad in certain instances. So, for instance, I would say that the little story that I saw that I just relayed to you guys, I would say that the suppositions that makes at the beginning of the story, whereby, oh, well, they heard this guy saying that he'd never thrown a football before in his life, and then they instantly expected men to be terrible, terrible people. And it's like, really? Really? So you instantly, you know, there's an instant judgment there. Talk about implicit bias, like we were, implicit associations, like we were last week. You know, that testing method might be crap, but this person has jumped to a conclusion like that. A conclusion, by the way, that they have no evidence for and makes no sense. You know, if you want to talk about those kind of things, then here are examples, because it can work both ways, positive and negative. It's all about just that initial supposition. Like, take people as people. Don't take people as, like, these huge groups. Group psychology is a thing, but the only reason that it's a thing is because of the way that we bounce off each other. And what is it that interaction is like formed from? Well, it's individuals bouncing off individuals. It's structures developing between individuals. We're all the building blocks of those things, you know. And so you can't throw in a blanket statement like that and attach it to everybody and make these suppositions and judgments with no evidence and no real kind of care about what's going on. Just like that. It doesn't make the slightest bit of sense, and it's only ever going to be harmful. And the thing that jumps out to me is the people who are usually screaming for kind of a removal of labels, for an acceptance of people to live the way they want to live, or for kind of, oh, well, these things are bad in the world and we need to sort it out, you know, we need to get rid of it. They're the people who seem to be screaming, well, not screaming, but they seem to be the people that are coming up with these stories, these things that point out kind of, this is associated with this, more than anyone else. The people who are just more moderate, who just sit in the middle there and watch what's going on, take people as people and just get on with their lives, they don't tend to be the people who are going to come up with these stories. Yeah, they're not the people who are making these judgments and suppositions. But go to either end of the political spectrum again, this thing that's becoming even more and more prevalent than even it was already. You know, you take a look at those individuals, and they're the ones putting these stories out there. They're the ones who are going either, oh yeah, well, I didn't expect this to happen, but then it did. Oh, what a surprise! These must be outliers. No, they're not outliers. The negatively impacting individuals are the outliers. Most people aren't negatively impacting or positively impacting. They're just like getting on with life. They might not be saints, but they're not, definitely not as bad as you're suggesting that they are. But it's like I've seen these things. Hannah's sent them to me a few times as well. You know, they're becoming memes, and they're floating around, and they're either there to kind of exemplify the problem that we need to fix, or they're there to kind of go, oh, isn't this uplifting? I supposed this thing about these people that I didn't know, and it turned out not to be true. Who'd have thunk? You know, give people like the benefit of the doubt at least. You know, see where they go. As said, 99% of the people that I've interacted with in my life so far, as I would imagine is the case in most other people's experience, 99% of the people that you're dealing with are completely innocuous. They're a face in the crowd. They're whatever else. You'll have a handful of good friends. You'll have a social network that you can really track of somewhere between 250 and 300 people. Then outside of that, everyone becomes a face in the crowd. Obviously, there's some movement between the crowd and the social network that you've got around yourself. Obviously, depending on where you're moving, that might change even further. But to one extent or another, those, the people who are actually going to be damaging to you, the people who are actually going to attack you outright for no reason whatsoever, just going to instantly judge you and attack you, they're in the minority by a huge, huge amount. You look at the amount of people on the planet. We've got nearly 7 billion, if not just over 7 billion, somewhere around 7 billion people on the planet at the moment. And most of those people you are never going to meet. The majority of those people are just getting on with their lives and just trying to do what they're trying to do. You're going to meet a, relatively speaking, handful of those people. And from that handful, you're going to make good friends, you're going to make you're going to make acquaintances, and then the rest is just going to be this amorphous blob of people. And then from that little remainder, that little amorphous blob, there are going to be a handful of people that come out and attack you just for being you, just for what they perceive you to be. Even if it's completely inaccurate, it's something that they will come out directly and go for you for whatever reason. They'll have their own reasons. It'll probably be some kind of odd justification, but they will go for you regardless. But that number is going to be so small. The number of people causing problems around the world at the moment, be it in terms of terrorism, be it in terms of extremism in either things like religion, or in regards to things like politics, or in regards to things like ideologies. All those people, relatively speaking, are a tiny, tiny number of people. They might be very loud, they might be out to get a specific group, they might want specific things, but they're a tiny, tiny number. So trying to kind of conflate these other traits with being, instantly good or bad makes no sense and is ridiculous. And I realise that to probably a lot of people watching this video, that's absolutely fine. You're like, yeah, of course it is. Well, why are you even talking about this? And it's like, I'm throwing this out there just to either reaffirm what you guys already know, in which case, you're fine. I didn't need to say it, but I did, and just be happy that we're on the same page. But otherwise, it needs saying for all those people that don't get it. They might still be a small number of people, but relatively speaking, they're still there to cause problems. As said, just because they're a small number, they might be still causing problems. They might be a group that we can potentially tackle and keep at bay for a long time and deal with, but they can still throw a spanner in the works and cause us some issues. They're there to be paid attention to, not necessarily just ignored as too minor. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to bring this to you because it's something that bugs me whenever I see it, be it positive discrimination or negative discrimination. Why discriminate? Everyone's different. Just because this person has come from this place at this time and they look this way and they dress this way and all the rest of it, unless you actually go up and ask that person, go up and get to know that person, go up and kind of talk through their life with them and share experiences, you don't know who that person is. So why bother trying to draw random conclusions and make daft judgments off no information whatsoever? It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, guys, hopefully, this was a bit of a ramble, but hopefully you found it interesting, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you found this at all interesting, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care.